Mr. B. Dhanasegar is working as a lecturer in Department of Information Technology, Anna University, Chennai. He finished his MCA from Urumu Dhanalakshmi College, Bharatidasan University. He finished his ME in Computer Science and Engineering from College of Engineering, Anna University. His areas of interest are multi-core programming and architecture, programming models, compiler, automata theory, cryptography, and algorithms. He is an expert in subjects like compiler design, formal languages and automata theory, analysis of algorithms. His research area is code generation for multi-core architecture.
Welcome to the UGC lecture series on computer science, and in this episode we are going to have the subject that is theory of computation. Let me start with the recap of what we had seen in the previous lecture of the same subject, that is theory of computation. We have seen the regular expression definition. It is an expression which is used for describing the regular languages, that is one class of the language available in the Chomsky hierarchy. We will be actually we have seen that is the basic primitives, first one. Then we have seen how we are building the complex regular expressions out of that. That is actually part of the regular expression. There is a definition for regular expression. So once we have written the regular expressions, then it is possible to describe any language that is coming under the regular language class, which is one of the basic class as far as Chomsky's hierarchy is concerned. Also we have seen the simple regular expression, how we are writing regular expressions, then building regular expressions from the primitive operators, and we have seen some examples for regular expressions also. So this is what we have seen as far as the previous lecture is concerned. As far as this episode is concerned, we are going to see the construction of regular expressions and how we are transforming the regular expressions into its equivalent, that is finite automata. As far as regular expressions are concerned, they are simply going to be the procedural representation of languages. But just by having this, it is not possible to construct programs. So we need to transform them into programs. Before going for writing programs, it is required to transform them into some kind of tools which we call it as finite automata. So finite automata is a device or it is a tool which is used for recognizing regular languages. So once we have written the regular expressions, if you convert these regular expressions into its equivalent finite automata, then those finite automata can be very easily transformed into programs. We have a lot of tools for converting them into the programs. So by using them, it is possible to translate them into programs. So what we need is, for that programs formation of the regular, that is for describing regular languages, we need to have the finite automata. So now the question is, how do we transform the regular expressions into their equivalent finite automata? We have a Thompson's construction, that will transform the given regular expression into its equivalent, that is epsilon NFA with the epsilon transitions. So once we have converted this NFA converted to NFA with epsilon transitions, then it is possible to transform those NFA with the epsilon transitions to their equivalent deterministic finite automata. So deterministic finite automata, if they are available, then writing programs will be very easy for us. So let us start with how we are translating the given regular expression into its equivalent NFA with the epsilon transition. Let me start with how we are translating a regular expression which is meant for describing an empty language into its equivalent non-deterministic finite automata. A language is said to be empty if there is no string at all. A string is said to be empty if there is no symbol at all. But empty string is a string, but even if that empty string is available in a language, the language will never be called as empty language. So empty language is the one which is not at all recognizing anything as part of the recognition process. So now the question is, how do we construct an NFA or a finite automata for the empty language? The language recognition normally starts with the first state of the automata, and if you reach the final state of the automata, we are very sure that at least one string will be recognized by the finite automata. But if you construct a finite automata with no transition is possible from the initial state to the final state, then it will be an automata recognizing an empty language, or we see that automata as the automata for recognizing empty language. So you just construct an automata in which there is no transition from the starting state to the final state. It will be an automata for recognizing the empty language. So that's what here we are having as far as the slide is concerned. We shall see that is how we are constructing the finite automata for the empty language. The regular expression meant for describing the finite or the empty language is pi. So now the question is, how do we construct a finite automata for this regular expression? The meaning is there should not be any transition from the starting state to the final state. So you construct this as the finite automata, and we find that this is going to be the starting state and this is the final state, and we do not find out any transition from the starting state to final state. So no matter what the string we are having is, it is certainly impossible to move from the starting state to the final state. It means that no string can be recognized by this automata. So that means this is the automata meant for describing empty language. The next one is, if you are given a symbol, okay, it can be either epsilon or it can be a symbol that is other than epsilon. Epsilon is a notation, it could not be called as a symbol, it is a notation for describing empty string. So empty string is also going to be a string. So now how do we construct a finite automata for the empty string? As per the Thompson's construction, we start from the starting state of the finite automata and we should be able to reach the final state of the automata, but the question is, we should recognize a string of 0 symbols. It means we must be able to translate or move from the starting state to the final state without consuming any input symbol. So now how do you create such a transition from the starting state to the final state? It is very simple. You just add a transition like this from the starting state to the final state with a label called epsilon. So you must understand here that epsilon is not a symbol, it is a notation for describing empty string. So if you have such a transition from this state to the final state, it means that once you have entered into this state, without consuming any symbol, we will be able to reach the next state. So this is the starting state and here it is the final state. Since we have a transition without that transition possible without consuming any symbol, we can say that this is going to be an automata which will recognize only the empty string. So now we have seen that how we are constructing an automata which recognizes nothing, and the next one is automata which recognizes a string with nothing. A string with nothing, I mean that is an empty string. The next is, how do you recognize or how do you construct a finite automata that will consume exactly one symbol? The symbol can be anything, but the question is, how do we construct an automata which is going to recognize that symbol alone? Once again the process is, you identify a starting state for the finite automata, then identify a final state for the automata, you add a transition from the starting state to the final state, that is an edge, with the label whatever the symbol which we want to recognize. Let us see the automata here. The symbol which we want to recognize is going to be A. Actually A is the regular expression which is describing the language containing only the symbol, that is A. So now if you want to have the finite automata for that, you just identify the starting state, this starting state, then this is going to be the final state. We can say that this automata recognizes a string that is containing only A only if there is a transition from this starting state to the final state with the label A. So this A is just a notation, so just a symbol. This symbol can be anything, it can be A or B or even plus or even 0, anything, but we should have a transition from the starting state to the final state labeled A. So this automata is going to recognize exactly the string called, that is A. There is no question of repetition of the string A, or there is no question of just skipping that A also. Once we enter into the starting state, it is strictly required that we must consume the symbol A and then move to the final state, that is of the final state of the automata. So starting state to the final state, we just take the entire set of labels available in the starting state to the final state, that will give you the language. If I am having one more transition from the starting state to the final state with the label B, then we can say that it is going to recognize A as well as B, but that part comes under the composite cases. These are the 3 primitive cases. How do you recognize the empty language, how do you recognize empty string, and how do you recognize a string containing exactly one symbol? So using these 3 number of primitive regular expressions and 3 primitive finite automata, it is possible to construct finite automata for any complicated regular expression. There is actually those kind of regular expressions are formed with the help of the operators which are closed by the regular languages. The operators are either it is going to be union or concatenation, or it can even be closure also. So now we have to see how we are constructing the automata for union, concatenation and then for closure. Let us see that is one by one. First let us start with how we are constructing the automata for plus. This plus is the operator meant for union. The regular expression here, what it means is, you take any string from the regular expression R or any string from the regular expression S. R and S are not symbols here. R is a regular expression and S is another regular expression. So this R describes some language, similarly this S describes some language. The meaning of the language recognized by this L of R plus S is a string either from L of R or a string from L of S. So first we should know what is the finite automata available for R. So here we have the finite automata available for R. Once again it is an abstract automata only. We do not know how many states are there in this automata because R is only a regular expression notation, but it is not exactly the regular expression. So this regular expression can be anything. Depending upon how complex the regular expression, this automata is going to be a complex there is automata. So here we are seeing just as an abstraction, we have a starting state and we know that there is a final state available. In the meantime we may have any number of states, that is depending upon how complex the regular expression R is. So assume that we have an automata for R, then strictly we want to have another automata for S, because R is a regular expression and S is a regular expression. So these regular expressions can be either primitive or it can even be complex regular expressions also. So R may be an empty string, or R may be an empty language, or R may be a that is language containing only one symbol, or R can even be the regular expression with the complex operators also. But here we see that R is a regular expression for which we have an automata, S is another regular expression for which also we are having another automata. Now the question is, how do we make up a new automata that will recognize either a string from L of R or a string from L of S? The idea is very simple. You just make use of the automata meant for R and for S, but we should have a single starting state and there should be a single final state. The single starting state condition is more rigid, but the single final state condition is not going to be rigid, because of the definition for finite automata says there should be a single starting point for any automata, but we can have a set of final states. So if you are not connecting the final states of R and S with a common final state, then we can say that there will be a set of final states available for the resulting automata, but the set of starting states is not going to be a question. There should be a unique starting state. So strictly we have to introduce a unique starting state, and from that starting state we just connect the starting states of R and S. Once again, from the final states of R and S, you just connect the final state of the new automata. You can see that is what happens here. We are introducing a new starting state for the automata here, and there is a new final state which is also introduced here, and the starting state of the first automata is connected with the starting state of the new automata. The new automata mean the NFA with the epsilon transition meant for the R plus S. So for this automata, the new starting state is this. So connect the new starting state with the starting state of R with epsilon transition. Similarly, connect the final state of R with the final state of the new automata with the epsilon. We should know the reason why it is the transitions are labeled epsilon. If you are labeling these transitions anything other than epsilon, the language of R will be different. So that should not happen. Still it should recognize a string from L of R or a string from L of S. So no question of labeling the transition from the new starting state of R and final state of R to the new final state anything other than epsilon. So now one path is clear. So what will happen, suppose if I am having a string which could be recognized from S. So I should add once again transitions from the starting state of the new automata to the starting state of the automata that is S using epsilon, and the final state of S to the new final state, once again using epsilon. So now you take any string from either from R or from S, I will be having a starting state that is this one, then I can either move to starting state of R, I can move to starting state of S. Once the recognition is completed either by R or by S, I will reach the final state of either R or S depending on what string I have recognized. Then I can jump from the final state of this automata or this to the new final state just by having once again epsilon transition. So thus this is going to be the automata meant for recognizing any string from one regular expression or other string from the other regular expression. By combining these two, we will be forming a new automata for a new regular expression formed by using the union operation. I will continue this lecture after a short break. Welcome back. So before the break, we have seen how the union operation is handled as far as the conversion from regular expression to finite automata is concerned. So given R as a regular expression and plus as the operator, then S as another regular expression, how do we form the finite automata? That we have already seen. The next operator which we are going to see is the concatenation. So generally dot is the operator meant for concatenation, but it is not necessary that we must explicitly put a dot in between two regular expressions to say that this is going to be the concatenation of two regular expressions. Most of the time we will write the first regular expression immediately followed by the second regular expression. It means that that is going to be the concatenation. We consider once again we have two regular expressions, one is R and another one is S. So now we have to form a new regular expression which is going to recognize the strings from the regular expression R immediately followed by the regular expression S. That means a string from L of R immediately followed by a string from L of S. So first you recognize a string from L of R, then you make a jump from the final state of the automata for R to the first state of the automata for S without consuming any symbol. That is very important there, because if you are consuming something for making a transition from the final state of R to the first state of S, then the language is strictly not going to be the concatenation. It is more than that, but that should not happen. So we need to make a jump from the final state of the first automata to the first state of the second automata without consuming any symbol. Once you are entered into the first state of the second automata, we just recognize a string from the second automata so that we will be able to reach the final state of the second automata. So now to form the new automata, what is going to be the first state of the new automata and what is going to be the last state of the new automata? The first state of the new automata is the first state of the first automata, and the last state of the new automata is going to be the last state of the second automata. So the entire thing can be seen as far as this slide is concerned. So first we are having two regular expressions, one is going to be R and another one is S. Either we can write the concatenation as R dot S, or we can say that it is going to be immediately there is R followed by S without any dot. First you find out what is going to be regular expression, so what is going to be the NFA for R. So we have the NFA for R here. We have a starting state, we have a final state, and we do not know what is inside this regular expression in the finite automata, because R is just a variable denoting some regular expression. We do not know exactly what is the regular expression. Then we want to have another automata for S. So we are having the automata for S. Now we have the starting state for R, final state for R, starting state for S, final state for S. The question is now construct an automata for the new language which is formed by the concatenation of R and S. It means a string from R immediately followed by a string from S. Once we have entered into the starting state of R, after recognizing a string from L of R, definitely it is possible to reach the final state of R. So we need not bother about how the transitions are defined as far as this automata is concerned. Similarly, once we have started transition from the starting state of the S, definitely we will be able to consume any string from this L of S and we could reach the final state of S. So once again we need not bother about the transitions defined as far as the recognition of S is concerned. But what will happen as far as the transition from the final state of R to the first state of S? So we add a transition from the final state of R to the first state of S but labeled epsilon. The reason why we are having epsilon is, you take a string from R, take another string from S, the concatenation will give you string from R immediately followed by string from S without any intermediate symbols. So just if you are concatenating the string from R with the epsilon, it is going to be still R only. Similarly, concatenation of this epsilon with the string from S, still it is going to be S, because epsilon is going to be an identity as far as the concatenation is concerned. It is an empty string. So now the new automata is going to have a starting state, that is the first state of R, and the final state, that is going to be the final state of the S. So any string recognized by this automata is going to have the first component from L of R and the second component from L of S. So this is how we are forming the automata for R dot S, that is going to be the concatenation. The next one is going to be the closure. The closure is a very important operator as far as the real expression is concerned, because it is the only hope for creating a language with the infinite number of symbols or infinite number of strings, or it is going to be recursive. So now how do we define the automata for a regular expression which is having some closure operation? As far as closure is concerned, it is an in-array operator. In the previous two cases, we have seen one operator for union and another one for concatenation, and both are binary operations, because we need two regular expressions for carrying out those operations. But whereas in the case of closure, it is enough to have only one operator, that is the operand. So one regular expression we are considering. Just you can take R as a regular expression. To find out the closure, the regular expression is R star. The closure meaning is, it is either 0 times, or 1 time, or 2 times, or any number of times, that is infinite number of times. So now the question is, how do you form an automata which will recognize 0 times of the given regular expression, or 1 time, or any number of times. 0 times means without consuming any symbol, we should be able to jump from the first state of the automata to the last state. 1 time means first state through the automata you reach the final state, that is going to be 1 time, and if it is going to be repeatedly, that is applying any number of times, then we should have a transition from the final state of the automata back to the first state of the automata, but without consuming any input symbol. So if these three things are implemented in any finite automata, then we can claim that that is going to implement the closure of the given regular expression. You can see the construction here. First we are having the regular expression, that is R, star is going to be unary operator. So we want to construct the finite automata for R star. We have the finite automata first of all for R. We have starting state, we have final state, and once again the question of what is inside this R is not going to be an issue, because R is just a variable denoting some regular expression. So now we have to find out how we are implementing, or how do we construct an automata for R star. The meaning is clear. Closure means it should recognize 0 times of R. You can see that it is going to be the automata for 0 times of R. 0 times of R, 0 times of any regular expression is always going to be epsilon only. So this is new starting state for the new automata, and this is a new final state for the new automata, that is implementing the closure of R star. So you have a transition from the starting state to the final state exclusively labeled using epsilon, because it is going to be only empty string. That is the first part. The second part is, how do you make this automata to recognize R exactly once? So for that we have a transition from the new starting state to the starting state of R labeled epsilon, and the final state of R to the new final state once again exclusively labeled using epsilon. So now it is going to be an automata that recognizes R either 0 times or exactly once. So this is normally implemented or represented by a regular expression called that is R followed by question mark. The question mark is an wild character, or it is an operator that is denoting either 0 times or 1 time, or either it is present or absent. But here we want to implement star, that is a closure which is going to repeat that infinite number of times. What do we repeatedly execute or recognize is only the regular expression R, that is any string from this R. So what we need for that is going to be a transition from the final state of the automata to the first state of the automata, once again labeled epsilon. So here you can see that we have included a transition from the final state of R to the first state of the R, but labeled using epsilon. So now this path can be taken any number of times. That is fully depending upon how many times we are supposed to repeat R for recognizing any string from this L of R star. So it is capable of recognizing either 0 times of R, so this is the path, and it is 1 time, then this is going to be the path, and if it is 2 times, then the path is going to start from here, enter into this state, come to the final state of the R, then come back to the initial state of R, come back repeatedly. You can see it visit it any number of times depending on the need. And finally, if you are sure that we have completely recognized this string, that is as many times as we needed, then we can make a jump from this particular automata to the final state of the automata. So these are the three, there is composite, there is a regular expressions, and how we are translating them into the corresponding non-deterministic finite automata with the epsilon transition. Even you can directly go for constructing the DFA, but it is going to be a very difficult job as far as the complex regular expressions are concerned. But if you want to make it more formal or more procedural, then this is the way in which we can translate our expressions, regular expressions, into their equivalent non-deterministic finite automata with the epsilon transition. So we have another algorithm that will translate the non-deterministic finite automata into its equivalent deterministic finite automata. So when we study that, we will be able to see that how we are translating regular expression into equivalent deterministic finite automata. But the step must be clear. We should be able to write a regular expression first of all, then translate it into epsilon NFA, then translate it into the deterministic finite automata. Once you have DFA, we can very easily go for writing programs from the deterministic finite automata, because that will never be having any kind of ambiguity at all. But whereas in the case of NFAs with the epsilon transitions, there is a possibility for having ambiguity, because we have a lot of epsilon transitions. The reason is, suppose if I am having epsilon transition from a state to 2 different states, whether you have to jump to the first state or to the second state, it is not clearly defined, because there is ambiguity available as far as this automata is concerned. So now we can see that is what are all the regular expressions, or for any given regular expressions we will be able to recognize, or we will be able to construct the NFA with the epsilon transitions. So few problems we are having here. We are having some problems, that is A plus B, how we are constructing the automata for that. Then this is another regular expression, we are having that is epsilon plus A or B star star, then A plus B it is star, then ABB followed by A plus. We are having the sequence of there is a combination of all the operations, it is plus is there for union, concatenation is there, then closure is there. Then another operation you can see here is that is your identity operation, your opening bracket followed by closing bracket. So whether it is going to be a regular expression inside bracket or outside bracket or without bracket, no matter, the regular expression is, or the equivalent automata is not having any change. But when we are combining a regular expression with expressions inside bracket, there may be some differences, because of the priority and associated information will be modified just by introducing those brackets. So that is the only change by introducing your expressions. So other than that, the questions, there may be any possible, there is a list of questions possible. You can take any regular expression, and those regular expressions can be, or you will be asked to translate those regular expressions into its equivalent NFA with the epsilon transitions. We should completely, clearly remember that how we are translating the primitives, then how we are translating your composite cases. That is, given a regular expression with the plus as the operator, what should be done? Given a regular expression with concatenation operator, what should be done? Given a regular expression with closure, what is to be done? These are the possible questions. With this I conclude this lecture. In the next lecture we shall see some examples of translating regular expressions into their equivalent NFA with the epsilon transitions. Thank you all.